So, Governor, you've said that the responsibility lies with your team that is leading this hospital, but I wanted also to remind you, so that I can give the senators context, even as you converse on this, that this issue of late submission or non-submission of this particular hospital's financials was conversed last year.
I agree.
In this committee. And it was conversed in your office, and we came up with understanding.
That is true.
Which was communicated to you. And I just want to remind you that, what is this? Here's the failure. Is it?
Maybe, Chair, you can allow the legal officer to read out the provision.
No, but first of all, I want just, because Governor has talked about goodwill, before we go into the law, because I want to give the senators context. I want the senators to interact with the team here. On our notes indicated last time, the committee directed the governor to ensure that all level 4 and level 5 hospitals in Mombasa County submit their financial statements to the Auditor General for audit, covering the period from the financial year 2021 to 2022 and 2023 to 2024, which is the year in question. Additionally, the governor must ensure that going forward, these hospitals continue to submit their financial statements for audit in compliance with the Public Finance Act, the Public Audit Act, and other applicable laws. Failure to comply shall result in the application of the penalty provisions outlined in the respective laws, which is what the chairperson is referring to be read. That will be read later. Can you explain to us why these statements were not submitted?
Chair, we have a director of finance were here. As much as there's internal issues that are going to be taken and internal actions that are going to be taken, Chair, I do take responsibility that these documents were not submitted. I do take responsibility that there is no legal valid reason as to why those documents were not submitted on time. I do, however, also take responsibility to confirm that it is not that the documents were not available, but they were actually sent at a time that was not acceptable by the officer of the Auditor General. It is not that they were not sent, the documents were sent. It is not that they were not done, the audit were done. It is not that they were not submitted, they were submitted. Only challenge that was there was the Office of the Auditor General felt the date in which they were sent was late. And I was under oath in the last Senate meeting, and it is the truth, Chair, and I do take responsibility on the actions or misactions of the staff of the county government of Mombasa.
Who is Mr. Iqbal? Dr. And who is Mr. Vincent Roma?
Mr. Vincent Oma was a former accountant, as what His Excellency the Governor is talking about.
Okay.
There has been an internal reshuffle of accountants so that Mr. Vincent Oma and Mr. Stephen Dume and another accountant were replaced by, there was a reshuffle, and we have had new accountants.
And who is Dr. Swaba?
Dr. Swaba?
The CEC for health was, unfortunately, one of our child is unwell. She was unable to be here with us today. Okay. Chair, you asked about those first two names. As part of the actions that we were immediately able to do is to remove from active position those two as we also investigate as to the reason why those documents were delayed, because there were the accountants who are actually meant to ensure that the documents are ready for the CEO to append a signature and forward them. And as a result of that delay, we did drop them from their current positions as we investigate thoroughly whether they did it by design or it was done by default. The CEC, I did pass her apologies that she was not able to make it because her child is unwell.
All of them were in our previous meeting, including the CEO. But now I let the senators decide. Senators, it's your time. Starting perhaps with the chair.
Well, I remember I chaired both sessions. We chaired the meeting in this room that directed that financial statements for cost be prioritized, so that in the subsequent financial year, we are going to have audited reports for Coast General Hospital. We followed it up when we did our inspection tour in April last year, and we had a meeting that reinforced that directive, that it's important that we have audited reports. First of all, have financial statements, and then subsequent to that, we have audited reports. So it is something that this committee really put a lot of focus around, and not just because the committee was concerned about financial management of the hospital, but also it is provisions of the law, as the session chair has been saying. It is in PFM, it is in Public Audit Act, and is in the regulations that financial statements must be submitted to the Auditor General within some timelines. If it goes beyond that timelines, then it is late submission. Importance of Coast General Hospital, not just to the Coast region, but to the entire nation. And given that we are now operating under FIF Act, where hospitals are supposed to generate their own revenue and manage it at source. So the officers involved, the law is very clear on the penalties for either late submission of documents or non-submission of the documents. So I will leave it to the committee to decide whether they want to fine or whether they want to recommend imprisonment or whether they want the two actions to be taken. So I think that should be the debate here, not on whether the timelines were observed or not. Because session chair, you know, we are here today working. We are supposed to be on our long recess. We are working because we are trying to beat the deadline of 31st March. That's why we are here. So these deadlines are binding on all of us. So really the committee, the decision is yours on the actions we are going to take on the accounting officers involved. Do we fine them? Do we recommend imprisonment? Or do we do both? And given that, even if we were to tell the Auditor General to go ahead and audit what he has, we will still not be able to beat the timelines of 31st. If it is beyond 31st, then it will be illegal what we will be doing. So we are actually in a tight corner on this matter. So maybe the chair, session chair, you can allow the members to dig in and we make a decision.
Just maybe
just a moment, Governor. May you first of all read the law so that we are all in sync. Then I'll give the governor perhaps a minute. Then I'll go back to the members. By the way, Governor, I have just been pulled out of Cape Town. to come to this meeting. So my chair cut my meeting short. My visit short. We were supposed to resume on 9th of next month. That's how serious this matter is. But go ahead.
Then, I will be reading from the Public Audit Act. Section 47(1) of the Public Audit Act provides for the time limit for submission of accounts. And it provides as follows. The financial statements required under the Constitution, the Public Finance Management Act, and any other legislation shall be submitted to the Auditor General within 3 months after the end of the fiscal year to which the accounts relate. So for the accounting year 2024-2025, the expectation under Section 47(1) is that the financial statements be provided by the end of September 2025. Then that is because there is also now the timeline within which the Auditor General has to conduct the audit and submit the audit reports to Parliament. So in line with that, Section 62 provides for now the penalty. So it makes it an offense for a person without justification either to fail to provide information required under this act, that's the Public Audit Act, and also makes it an offense for a person without justification to fail to provide information within reasonable time that is required under this act. That is Section 62(1) of the Public Audit Act. Then the penalty is prescribed under Section 62(2), and it states that a person who contravenes subsection 1 commits an offense and is liable on conviction to a fine not exceeding 5 million shillings or to imprisonment for a time not exceeding 3 years or to both. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much. So basically, this was 3 months late. It was when the auditor received the documents 3 months late. Technically speaking, because it was on the 19th. That's when you got the documents. So just about 3 months. Governor, you had something you wanted to say? Or do you want to?
Chair, maybe just as a request to the members as they make their deliberations and their decisions. The law is actually quite clear, but in the natural acts of justice as well, I would plead with this committee, considering that those 2 accountants who had been given this responsibility, action has already started being taken. One of them being the fact that they are no longer at this particular hospital. 2, we are already going through and trying to look into the nitty-gritties as to what actually caused them to have this kind of delay. I would beg that in the wisdom of this committee to allow us to take internal action on those 2 particular accountants. Chair, even as we do that as well, one of the things that we as a county government are in the process of doing is to date they have started evaluating the digitalization concept of all our facilities, from the smallest to the largest. So that at no given time do we end up having a situation like what we're having currently. Again, I leave it to the wisdom of the committee and the able senators, but internally it is action that we've already started on the same.
Thank you, Governor. It's also my responsibility as a chair to guide the committee members and give context. Number 1 context is that this committee ultimately holds the governor accountable under Article 179, but particularly on this particular matter, the ultimate responsibility lies with the CEO, who is the final accounting officer for us as a committee. Number 2 guidance is that when I read the meeting that we had last year, in presence of this committee, when the committee visited Mombasa, was the CEO. That's why I asked, is Mr. Dr. Iqbal in this meeting? Then the last context is that we visited Mombasa in the context that this was a persistent problem for this particular hospital. It was not the first time that this issue was coming in place. We visited in that context that it was becoming a persistent problem of non-submission or late submission of documents. So I just want to guide that to the committee, and it's up to the committee to make that decision. I see Senator Mbugua raising his hand, so please, Senator.
Thank you, Chair. Before you make that crucial decision, I would want to know how long the CEO has been holding that position in that particular hospital.
Thank you. I have been the CEO since 2014.
That's why I say that it was a persistent issue. So the CEO has been there since 2014. Go ahead, Senator Chimera.
Chair, I just want to understand, Governor seems to be laying the blame on the accountants. When were these accountants, the former ones, released from CPGH, and the new one, when did he come on board?
Chair, actually, when we realized that the timelines were not going to be able to be achieved, immediately action was taken. I want to also take us back, Chair, to which were actually within the law to take that particular action. The PFM Act 156 is that the CC in charge of finance shall start instituting the relevant actions, including removing those accountants from the position that they're holding. And when we said that we're removing these people from those positions, the intent was not just to remove them and keep them somewhere else. And that is for the avoidance of doubt, is we also want to find out, is there a reason as to why they delayed this? To Chair, Mombasa has always worked on another act that before the country got into the element of FIF, Mombasa had an act which was known as the Mombasa Health Act. And in the Mombasa Health Act, which was enacted as a county government act, it had always allowed for funding from facilities to be retained at facilities. As a matter of fact, your colleague senators had initially told us that that particular act should not be there because everything was meant to go to the CRF. Only after the advent of the FIF is when we now had to use that as a basis. But before that, it was always the Mombasa Health Act. And Coast General, over the years, has always been audited together with executive. So, Chair, I just thought I'd give...
Sorry, Governor, you didn't answer my question, Governor.
Just a moment, Senator Chimera. I want to guide this meeting. I want us to strictly converse on why were the financial statements submitted that late. When it was a
indeed my question, Chair.
Yes.
Yes.
And Governor, this is a very straightforward question. When were the accountants released? When was the new accountant engaged?
We removed the accountants just before December. Last year.
Okay.
And immediately thereafter, we brought in the new accountants.
Of course, then there's nothing would have done basically by the time he was reporting.
Exactly.
Okay.
Chair.
Senator Kavindu?
Yeah, Chair, I want to hear from the Governor. Were the accountants sacked or they were transferred to another edit?
The process of sacking an employee, Chair, takes quite a bit of time. One, you need to be able to give them all reasonable issues as to why they're actually being sacked. It's easier to remove someone from elected post than to remove someone who has been employed. And I think it would be the right way to go about it is as we have used the PFM Act, Section 156, where the CC for Finances removed those particular accountants. And as we do that as well, internal investigations are ongoing, which can be able to, one of the reasons, of course, is the fact that they actually sent this late. That in itself can be a reason. But we have to be able to allow the Public Service Board as well to engage them directly. If it was a private company, by now someone would have already gone home. But unfortunately, the process of removing someone...
No, I don't want to cut you. I don't want to cut you. I want to guide.
Are they...
Because, just a moment, because we've got a number of other things we need to look into. let me guide members that for this committee, I appreciate the governor's effort and the administration action that has been taken, but disciplinary action for this committee is actually not into the accountants or any other person. It's actually limited to the governor, the CEO, and actually the chief finance officer. So let's not converse about the accountants and all that. That appreciate has been taken, that action, but I want you to hold to account the three officers who are before us, duly so by the Constitution, who is the governor, the CEO of the hospital, and the chief officer finance, being the person who is supposed to be taking the responsibility according to what the legal council guided us. CC Finance. CC Finance.
Before you come in, Chair, I think the key word here in the law is accounting officer. So I think the legal needs to explain to us, in the contents of the law, who are the accounting officers in this case. CEC Finance, an accounting officer, is health, an accounting officer, in the context that the law talks about. I think then you answer your question.
Thank you, Chair. In this particular context, it would be the person in charge of the hospital who is considered under Section 23 of the Facilities Improvement Financing Act. That is the act that mandates that every health facility has to be audited separately, and it provides in Section 23 that within 3 months after the end of each financial year, the accounting officer for a county health facility shall submit the facility's financial statements to the Auditor General in accordance with the Public Audit Act. So this part is consistent with Section 47 of the Public Audit Act, and also submit a copy of the facility's financial statements to the Controller of Budget and the Commission on Revenue Allocation. So that is the annual reporting that is required under the Facilities Improvement Financing Act.
I think it's consistent. So let's limit it to the CEO, and perhaps if you extend it to the CEC Finance. Senator Kavindi, you are still going on.
Yeah. Since the time when we were in Mombasa and the time when the accountant was sacked, that was past three months, and the CEO of the department would have made sure that those reports were ready for submission to the Attorney General's office. Auditor General's office for audit. Now, between the time that we were in Mombasa, Governor, and the time that this officer was sacked or was transferred in December, we want to hear from the chief officer or the CEC what took place there, because they knew that the auditor's office was coming to audit the entity. Thank you.
I think, Senator, the first issue that you had raised, I think before the sitting chair had asked, or rather interjected, I think you wanted to find out what is the current fate of those two accountants.
And he directed me not to go in that direction. That's why I've diverted.
All right,
yes,
okay.
Thank you.
But for avoidance of doubt, Chair, they're not currently with the hospital. They are currently have been set aside so that we can be able to find out what is the reason as to why these particular delays were there. And secondly, Chair, the question that has been asked is, between that time till now, what exactly happened? One of the things that we had agreed at the last Senate meeting that we had in my office, when you came over, the issue that was there was whether Coast General then was actually already being audited using the main executive audit reports, or reports that have already been passed through by this very honorable house. So the issue that was there was we were meant to ensure that for this financial year, 24-25 are the ones that they have to make sure that they're sent to the auditor. No one can have any reason to say that they were not aware. No one can have any reason to say that they did not know. No one can have any reason to give anything whatsoever. And on face value, Chair, unless you ask me otherwise, some things to me I feel are a blessing in disguise, because there could be a reason as to why these particular accountants decided not to be able to submit these documents in time. And it is my hope that the investigative issues that are going on right now, that are going to be independent of Coast General management, will be able to now come up. And any other and further administrative action and disciplinary measures that are going to be taken on those who are found responsible will be reported back to this honorable house as well.
Senator of Mombasa.
Chair, I just want to give a brief background. In the last Senate, the issue is Coast General with the issue of submission of the accounts, and that through the Mombasa Health Act, they used to spend some of the money that they were collecting and accounting for it. The issue was whether they could spend CRF, and I think they were advised at that time if they have a fund specifically for the health services from Coast General. Now, looking at the documentation, I think I don't know when the meeting in Mombasa took place, but it appears the central issue now is whether
It was April.
It was April, or that was before the end of the financial year. So I think they were warned. They must have been warned that you have to submit this year before the deadline of September, I think.
Yes.
And the submission was made after September. Maybe for my part, I would just ask for the committee to be lenient on whatever action they intend to take, because already they had been warned, and they again failed, and the reasons that they have given are plausible, because if the accountants were not there, I know the CEO is a doctor by profession, he's a surgeon, and he may not be able to prepare those records, and in any event they have to be signed by somebody holding an accountant certificate. So I will plead maybe you be considerate and lenient and treat them as maybe first offenders. And
I also want to...
Just a moment, Governor. Senator Faki, you are a legal mind, and therefore, you know, you are almost becoming a witness. I would rather hear that from the CEO, because now, if I start deductive reasoning that maybe this happened, it will be very tricky. Through the governor, the CEO, what happened? Why was there no compliance with what we sat with you together with the governor and agreed in a meeting? Because I would perceive that if we talked in April, you are expecting audited reports to be submitted in September. Then as the CEO of the company, you will have put all internal mechanisms to make sure that there are checks and balances in meeting those timelines. Even if being able to predict that maybe my accountants are delaying to the extent that they won't meet this timeline. So what really happened? Why were they not submitted by September?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to clarify issues. What I can say is that what His Excellency talked about, that these accounts were actually being submitted through the executive. So when the national laws changed, that now the accounts have to be submitted by the institution, we had to do 3 years accounts simultaneously, one after the other. 21, 22, 22, 23, 23, 24, although we had already submitted 21, 22 through the executive. That was a huge task, an ardent task, something that is not too easy, but it's no excuse whatsoever. And I'm glad that we had that meeting. Just like what you are asking me, what happened? I ask that question to my accountants every single day. What happened? I call them in the morning, I call them at night. Where are these accounts? As you know, I'm not an accountant, but at least I have to make sure that what my responsibilities are given on time. Whatever I'm responsible for as an accounting officer, I have to submit on time. After having discussed with my accountants, both the current ones and both the ones that have left, honestly speaking, we have come to conclude that CGTRH is a very big hospital. The volume is very high. If there is any accounts that are to be submitted, everything needs to be digitalized. Here we have partial digitization. The finance or the reception of the receipts of money is digital, but the procurement is manual. So to do hand in hand those two is quite difficult. We need a total HMIS system, and His Excellency has informed us that the county is currently evaluating the same, not only for Coast General, but all the hospitals within Mombasa County are to be fully digitized, and we appreciate for that. That is the only, I can say as a medic, that's the only pill that is going to solve this problem. Total digitization, nothing comes in without a record, a digital record, nothing goes out without a digital record. The second thing is human resource. ISPAC qualified or ISPAC registered is a professional body. The size of the institution begs for more ISPAC qualified accountants to come in. Just like we have departments, there is a department of accounts, but in every section there's only one accountant, and that person is not an ISPAC. So we are still requesting, and we have been requesting, that the human resource aspect of CGTRH be looked at, and His Excellency the Governor is favorably looking at it. The changes he has made have already made a difference. I have the first quarter accounts for the current financial year ready, the second quarter accounts and submitted to the CFO. Second quarter accounts are to be submitted by next week, and I think there is good progress in as far as accounts are concerned. I don't know whether I've answered the question to the adequacy at which it deserves. Thank you.
Senator Kavindo?
Yeah, I've just heard him say that the accountants that they have are not ISPAC qualified. So who signs those documents, and who even signed the documents that were sent, whether late, if they are not qualified?
Can I make a correction?
Who takes responsibility for that?
CEO?
We have ISPAC accountants chair. It's only that we don't have adequate numbers in them. Thank you. The accounts that were signed by an ISPAC professional body certified accountant. Thank you.
Senator Tobiko?
Chair, I found you in a very serious discussion, so I think maybe I just take a moment to introduce myself. Paris Tobiko is my name. The governor was my colleague at one time. I come from Kajiado and a member of this committee.
Thank you. Yeah, Senator, so I think that there is still a substantive question here. Actually, there are two. One, I think I will want to get the guidance from the auditors on how do you regularize these accounts, because we are in another financial year, which then it means that you must be able to raise a certificate for this financial year that is pending, that wasn't raised. Just an issue of adjustments, then it could have been easier. But that one, the auditor just think about it. How will you regularize this? Because that's a substantive issue. There's an issue of do you punish by penalties the officers who are liable or not? Senators, I want to close on that so that you can move to other sectors that we also have
Adequacy in the hospital. That there is need for them to have automation, HMIS, so that when those reports are produced, they are accurate reports that can be audited, and a true picture of the hospital provided to us. So me, I will be quick to go the approach proposed by Mombasa Senator, because he's speaking for the people of Mombasa. So I don't know what other members would say about that.
I think this is a very serious issue. I want to propose that committee, if you allow, we will canvass on this at our reporting stage. We'll be able to communicate to you the action that has been made by the committee. I think that will be the best position to, because I think that the committee will have to consider all the presentations that have been put. Remember, the Senator Faki is a friend of the committee. So the committee will retreat, and I will let them converse on that issue of whether we effect those penalties on the responsible officers or not. And then it will be communicated to you in due course. And then on the issue of regularization of these particular late submitted financial reports, what will be your guidance, Auditor?
Thank you, Chair. I want to also let the committee know that during this year, we were able to audit 3 financial years for the referral hospital, 21, 22, 22, 23, 23, 24. And 24, 25 was late. So when this happened, we removed 24, 25 for the year. So what will happen, it will be done as a year, with the year 24, 5, 26. Thank you.
Okay, that's fine. Then I would wish that, Chair, we take note of what has just happened here, as we always take notes. And despite the fact that there will be obstacles and impediments to mobilizing members in the electioneering here, this I will take keen interest on as your Vice Chair. I know you are vying for governor, have more responsibility for election at that time, but we'll make sure that we convene. The committee will go on. So there is no, let it be on record that you're not told that this is the last meeting you're being called over these particular issues, because we'll make sure that we canvass that certificate that's going to be raised by the Auditor General. So sometimes next year we'll look into it, but with regard to that particular misnomer of not submitting, it will be communicated to you by the clerk what the committee will have made a decision about that. Is that a fair place to be, members? So you can proceed.
Chair,
Okay.
may I make one comment on that? And this is for the avoidance of doubt. I have a team that is here. And I expect that when I move a certain direction, my team moves in that direction. And I expect when I move at a certain speed, my team will move at the speed at which we're moving. Let it not be doubted at all that as much as I will leave it at the wisdom of the Senate, it does not mean that the county government of Mombasa will not take appropriate action on those people. More so because you can imagine we have spent an hour, and how many man hours each and every one of us here deliberating on an issue that someone did not get done. So let it as much as anything else, and as much as I will respect the decision of the Senate, but I will also appreciate that everyone else will respect the decision of the county government. We will not allow a situation where people have been given responsibilities and those responsibilities are not being met. You can be able to slide once, you can be able to fall once, you can be able to fall twice, but then when your actions become repetitive, becomes your behavior. Very clear, I'm under oath, I'm at the Senate. For those who do not take necessary actions on what they are meant to do, the county government of Mombasa will take action on them. Just thought I'd put that very, very clear.
Thank you, Governor. That is cooperative, and we do take this. We do share the same sentiment. But let me just make it very clear also that the CEC Finance, the CEO of the hospital, we have, and then Chief Officer Health, we have got a serious communication to do to you on this particular matter, especially because, as Governor has indicated, it has been a persistent issue. That's why I say that we need to retreat and then canvass and consider all the tenets of this since when we started dealing with this issue of non-submission or late submission of documents. So I'll let that rest at that. Clerk will communicate to you our decision. Winslow, you have something?
Yes, Chair. I wanted to share with the committee that whenever I come to this particular meeting, and particularly because we are looking at the hospitals, the reports of the control of budget, they also check on this. And the year 24-25, we noted that most of the
heads of hospitals are here. It is our manifesto. We need to make sure that customer satisfaction is going to be recorded well. So when we are talking about rolling out of the digitization, it will start from cost general, go to the level 4s. After the level 4s, go to the lower facilities until each and every one of our facility has a digitization component that will not just talk about finances, but also digitizing health systems, health records, and dispensing of medicine. We're even talking about buying medicine at one go using that particular system.
Senator of Mombasa has something?
Chair, last year I made a tour of all the facilities in Mombasa, almost all of them. And this digitization, I was told it was taking place. And it will be up. We are still talking about it.
I give a clarification, Chair. The digitization that my able senator is referring to is the one that had been put in by DHA. And for that one, it was very, very specific. As a matter of fact, it is even better for us to have our own that will then link up to the one for DHA, so that in the event we submit that there are 300 patients that we've met on a certain day, on our end, we know that there are 300 patients. If it is picked by SHA that there are less than that 300 patients, we have backup that no, we actually have this. So the digitization that was referred to then is actually the one. It is still there, like many other facilities have, but it is not what it is, and it does not include the component of the financial aspect of the rest.
That's fine. Senator, I wanted to appeal to you that given that we are considering water, hospitals and municipalities together, and cognizant to the fact that Mombasa is a city and they don't have municipalities, and given the pressure of time that we have, given that Coast General has taken a lot of time to be able to deal with it, I wanted to appeal that the other hospitals, we give them another appointment where we could have ordinarily given them an appointment for municipalities. Then we instead look at Mombasa Water Supply and Sanitation Company, because there were some serious and substantive issues that wanted us to look into, so that the other hospitals will then look at them just by themselves without the Coast General Hospital, and we'll give them a different date for that. Is that fair to propose? Vice Chair, do you?
I think that makes sense.
Okay. Members, are we okay with that? So we just focus on the water for now, then we give them a break, and then we will come back to the others.
Chair, I will be making a request.
Yes.
You will agree with us that every time that we have to come to the Senate, you can imagine I have a whole team that needs to be able to appear. I don't mind being able to appear in person as many times as I'm called to. But I will be making a humble plea and request. For the level 4s, this is the first time they're actually doing this. As a matter of fact, I had wanted initially to reach out directly to the auditors as well, because there was a concern that there was, if you look at the issues that are there, it is more of reconciliation. We did not see this document, we did not see this document. Everything which has actually been able to be provided. One of the issues that the hospitals have also raised was that the management letter, and by the time doing the management response, the audit report draft was already out. And I don't blame the auditors, because also the time that they needed. I think the law talks about 7 days between the time in which you're meant to do the management letter and for us to have a management response. I will request, in the wisdom of this particular Senate, because majority of the issues that are there are issues to do with this document is not there and this is not tallied. It is really nothing material. If it is okay for the Senate to go through the written responses. And I say this because you can imagine, in terms of resources, that we have to be able to make sure that each and every one of these good people, maybe good and bad people, who have to travel all the way to Nairobi, and hospitals being left unattended to as well. I leave it to your wisdom. It is only a request that whether...
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Thank you very
and
much.
I think, Governor, that cannot be understated, because we also are empathetic to the fact that that resource could be used to be taken somewhere. And the context with which I was sharing this was the fact that we will sit down with our clerks and also our auditors.
Thank you very much.
And then be able to look at what are the substantive issues that need to be responded to the extent that those might be 1 or 2 hospitals. Then we'll be able to come back to you and with a substantive request that these particular officers show up to help us answer these particular queries.
Thank you.
But we will be as lenient as possible to be able to look at the written responses and communicate back to what would be feasible.
Thank you. Chair, you just need to also clarify in
Just
the
a moment,
letter.
the Secretary Chair.
Maybe the auditors, you need to clarify to this committee whether, because I think last time the audited reports for Mombasa City was not available. Are you able to, have you published the audited report for Mombasa City? So
Chair,
that will be covered together with any other issues, substantive issues that we may pick from the hospitals.
Chair, we don't have a municipal.
No, but you have the city.
Yes.
Yes, but the city is audited, and I think it goes through the public accounts.
You see, the city chair is equivalent to the county executive. Yes, sometimes substantively, sometimes PAC end up dealing with the issues of the county executive.
I think I'm actually appearing before PAC next week.
Yeah, you know, let me just help you, Governor. Don't worry. This one will help you out. You know, just like Nairobi, we always have Nairobi as an entire city. And then if you go somewhere like Eldoret, you've got Eldoret, there is Eldoret town, which is a city, but then there is municipalities outside it. Those municipalities that we look at.
Yes.
But now you, as Mombasa, it will be a duality of audit if we converse on it as well, because you have to appear before PAC.
Yes.
So because as a city now you appear before PAC, therefore there is no problem there at all. That's why I was saying that we could take advantage of the fact that we don't have the municipalities that we are considering at this moment to invite the team back, but we will be considerate on the issue of resources that are the county will be facing, and that will converse among ourselves as the Senate.
Thank
so
you.
don't worry about it.
Thank you.
Let's go to Mombasa water supply.
I wanted to just clarify on one thing.
Sure.
This is a house of records, and there's an official document written to me, which includes a hospital that is not ours. Is it wise for us to write back and say that it is not ours, or do we just allow the Secretariat to write back and say that it is excluding this particular hospital?
I think it would be in order to just write back and then we put it on file that that's a national hospital. I saw the misnomer as well. It's a national hospital, so that
it's actually not a national hospital, Chair, per se.
Yeah.
It's categorized as a level 4. I'm aware, though, recent information. This is through a letter that I saw a day ago. The national government is in the process currently
hospital.
They want to build this to a level 6.
Yeah.
The hospital that is there.
I mean, this has happened to us in Bungoma, even when we're looking at Siaya, Jaramogi as well. Those ongoing conversations at national level are converting them to national hospitals. So just write back and then we'll consider it accordingly.
Thank you. Thank you.
Then let's proceed to just look at Mombasa Water Supply and Sanitation Company Limited for the financial year 24-25. Auditor.
Thank you, Chair. Mombasa Water and Sanitation and Company Limited. The opinion for that particular year is a qualified opinion, and I stand guided, Chair, on whether I go through issue by issue or we pick
the same approach we've been doing. Okay. Go through the substantive issues. Okay. Substantive issues includes issues which are not addressed from your end, and issues which are have high fiduciary risk. Those are the ones you need to look to address.
Thank you, Chair.
So you can tell us which are the issues, and then the members will make a decision on how to proceed.
Okay. So the first issue that I consider substantive is long outstanding trade and other receivables. That is query number 2.
Chair.
Yes.
My apologies, Auditor. I just wanted to get clarity on one thing, Chair. There's some issues, Chair, that have been there all the other previous years, and some of them are very, very historic in nature. One of them is the one that he's referring to, the first one, and the other one is long outstanding trade and trade balances. These are very, very, there have been issues that have been there for quite a while. Should we go in depth with them as well, or do we, up to your wisdom, Chair?
I think we'll look at them, because the issue of long outstanding receivables have an effect on the material uncertainty related to going concern, which to us we consider very important. So I think we can pick that issue of long outstanding trade and other receivables. Proceed, Auditor.
Thank you, Chair. The other issue is long outstanding unsupported trade and other payables. The third issue, Chair, is a material uncertainty related to going concern. And there are some unresolved prior year matters which are weighty, Chair, one of which is direct Indian Ocean. Then number 2, stalled project at Kipevu Water Waste Treatment Plant. And the third issue is abandoned and approved contract extension period on the rehabilitation and extension of sewer networks, West Mainland and Island.
That one can be considered together with that prior year matters.
Yes.
The one of discharge to the sea.
Yes, Chair. The 3 of them. Then the other issue, Chair, is excessive non-revenue water.
Some of those issues are interrelated. So, honorable members, when we are debating to manage time, we can try and see how we can have a reflection on the other issues. For example, when you talk about trade and other receivables, and you are talking about going concern, those together. Yeah. So auditor will allow you to, for managing time, I will allow you to read 2 queries. The query on trade and other receivables, concurrently with the query on unsupported trade, and then the governor will respond to the two, and then I will open the floor for the members.
Thank you, Chair. Long outstanding trade and other receivables. The statement of financial position and note 16 to the financial statement reflect trade and other receivable balance of 501,954,618. The net receivable balance increased from 433,140,949 to 501,954,618 by 68,813,669, or 16%. Management has not provided evidence of effort or strategies initiated to collect the overdue debts. Further, the management did not disclose aging analysis of provision for bad and doubtful debts. In the circumstances, the accuracy and valuation of trade and other receivables of 501,954,618 could not be confirmed. Long outstanding and unsupported trade and other payables. The statement of financial position and note 25 to the financial statement reflect trade and other payables balance of 2,326,736,526. Included in the balance is 2,083,447,586 relating to trade payables, out of which 1,980,944,754 was outstanding for a duration of more than 120 days. Further, the balance was not supported by a schedule. In the circumstances, the accuracy and completeness of trade and other payables balance of 2,326,736,526 could not be confirmed.
Very well. You can now respond to the two queries, one after the other.
Chair, and this is why I had wanted your guidance on this. Some of these outstanding trade debts are so historic to the extent that when some of us were in high school is when these debts were accruing. Long outstanding should not be here, and the board actually does have the mandate. They can be able to say for debts that are as old as, if a debt is as old as me, that is a very old debt, not come by just like that. And I think as much as, if you look at and I think the auditors can be able to attest to this as well, if you look at in terms of, they will continuously try, but eventually we all have to be in agreement that